Greetings, my late night listeners, and welcome back to Night Sessions. Tonight, I come to you with a question. A simple question, really, but a question that may have many answers. A question that I would very much like to hear your answer to, and a question that I still ask myself. And that is, do you believe? Tonight, we'll be looking into 5 famous believers in the paranormal. We'll travel into the past and visit an 18th century botanist searching for mermaids. Say hello to a former president and his big hairy friend. We'll meet the little people behind some of your favorite novels and catch a fairy or two while we're at it. Now, grab your teddy and relax as I play this song just for you. The question in tonight's episode is, do you believe? It wasn't so long ago that folks understood and accepted that there are things in the world we may never fully understand. Things that cannot be explained by conventional means, and that may require a stretch of the imagination. It's only quite recent that we have become such skeptics in these matters. And why have we become so skeptical of supernatural and paranormal occurrences in our physical world, you ask? Well, that's what I'm hoping to find out. Which brings us to our first famous believer in the inexplicable. Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, whom we all know for his beloved creation of Sherlock Holmes. But something you might not have known about Sir Arthur Conan Doyle is that he was a firm believer in the existence of fairies. Interesting, right? In the midst of his success as a writer, he became rather devoted to researching the paranormal. During this time, 2 young girls claimed to have photographs of dainty winged figures. And in an article, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who was already quite sure of fairies' existence, used the photos to illustrate his statement on the subject. He says, "The recognition of their existence will jolt the material 20th century mind out of its heavy ruts in the mud, and will make it admit that there is a glamour and mystery to life. Having discovered this, the world will not find it so difficult to accept the spiritual message, supported by physical facts, which has already been put before it." He even went on to write a book titled The Coming of the Fairies. Throughout his life, he continued to research things like ghosts and other mysterious phenomena. Another author on our list of famous believers in the paranormal is Robert Louis Stevenson, best known for his book, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the idea for which was given to him in a dream. Robert Louis Stevenson believed rather matter-of-factly in the existence of little people, which he called his brownies that came to him in his dreams. These brownies he spoke of were as present in his everyday life as breakfast and books, and played a rather large part in his writing career. He even admits these little people were the inspiration or sometimes the very inventors behind much of his written work. In this short quote from his writings, he says, "For the little people, what shall I say? They are but just my brownies, God bless them, who do one half of my work for me while I am fast asleep, and in all human likelihood do the rest for me as well, when I am wide awake and fondly suppose I do it for myself. That part which is done while I am sleeping is the brownies part, beyond contention. But that which is done when I am up and about is by no means necessarily mine, since all goes to show the brownies have had a hand in it even then." I could go on about the strangeness surrounding Robert Louis Stevenson's work, but perhaps I'll save that for another day, and instead move on to our third famous believer. U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt believed in none other than the king of cryptids himself. You guessed it, Bigfoot. Though he never claimed to have seen the creature himself, being an outdoorsman, he believed the story of a fellow hunter who encountered an ape-like humanoid one day. I'll read a short clip from the encounter. Bowman, utterly unnerved and believing that the creature with which he had to deal was something either half-human or half-devil, some great goblin beast, abandoned everything but his rifle and struck off at speed down the pass until beyond reach of pursuit. The story of this terrifying encounter left such an impression on the president at the time that he added the account to his book, The Wilderness Hunter. Next up, we have our fourth famous believer in the supernatural, Sir Isaac Newton. Known for his mathematic formulas and scientific theories, Newton believed numbers were one of the keys to discovering the secrets of the universe. He made no distinction between the scientific and the supernatural throughout his work. His belief extended into the realm of the occult, numerology, astrology, as well as theology. He even made a calculated guess at the date of the end of the world. He estimated the end as well as the return of Jesus to be in the year, are you ready? 2060. Now I suppose in 1704 when it was predicted, 2060 sounded rather unreachably far into the future. Yet here we are in 2021 and suddenly it doesn't sound so far off. Now the Bible says that no man knows the day or the hour, but now I'm wondering, does it say anything about the year? I guess we'll just have to wait and see. He also added, "It may end later, but I see no reason for it ending sooner." Not sure what to do with that information, but there it is. Now, before we get into our final famous believer in the paranormal, let's take a break and enjoy this song. we've made it to our fifth and final famous believer in the inexplicable. It's time to meet Carl Linnaeus and his beloved mermaids. Now, I too am fascinated by the thought of these legendary creatures existing alongside us. But can these creatures really make the jump from the pages of fables and fairy tales into the real world? This 18th century botanist, zoologist, and taxonomist thinks that it just might be possible. In the midst of his research, an exciting report came through. A supposed mermaid had been captured off the coast of Jutland. He set out hoping this might be the breakthrough he needed. Unfortunately, his journey was cut short, as the body was deemed a fake before he could arrive on the scene. Whether that was a true assessment of the body or some force working against his discovery, we'll never know. He remained hopeful that eventually a specimen would be discovered to prove the existence of mermaids. One can never know for sure what lies in the unfathomable depths of the sea. And on that note, my friend, we conclude our exploration into these 5 famous believers in the paranormal. Throughout our journey, we found out Sir Arthur Conan Doyle believed in fairies, and Robert Louis Stevenson had brownies speak to him through dreams. President Theodore Roosevelt believed in Bigfoot. Sir Isaac Newton believed in just about everything, and Carl Linnaeus believed in mermaids. Maybe their beliefs were nothing more than childish fancies carried on for too long. After all, we've developed and progressed as a society much since then, haven't we? We have more information than ever at our fingertips, and surely if the existence of fairies and the like were true, we'd all know about it, right? Right? Or perhaps our modern way of life has, in a way, shut our eyes to such possibilities. Have we lost our perspective, or perhaps our curiosity? Or maybe there's something at work here, keeping things hidden in shadow for their own mysterious reasons. Either way, I'm making it my goal to reignite the mind. The mind that was once curious and ambitious, unafraid of tackling unexplained phenomena, questioning reality, seeking to discover the truth in a world, rather unfortunately, filled with lies. Of course, it's like finding a needle in a haystack, but what else are we here for, if not to try? So what do you say? Will you join me on this expedition into the inexplicable? I happen to think the most interesting questions in life are still out there waiting to be asked. I'm just not sure what they are yet, but together we can reignite our curiosity and question, dare I say, everything. And with that, I have just one more thing to say. Do you believe? Thank you so much for listening to the 5th episode of Night Sessions. If you enjoyed your time here, give the video a thumbs up, and if it's not too much trouble, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified of upcoming shows. And leave your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to hear from you. Remember to keep your eyes open, my friends. The world is a mysterious place. Until next time, I'm your host, signing off.